I'm live. Good Yontif gang, whoever's with us on live stream. Susan, thanks for getting that together. So this is day 2 of Pesach 5783, and we are going to, as they say, offer something a little different. Yesterday we had a very traditional day, which is great, and today we're going to have a more creative day, along with some beautiful traditions, and we hope you'll enjoy it and sit back and just enjoy the journey that we take on the second day of Pesach. You know, in Israel, today is no longer Yontif. They have one day of Yontif, so it's a regular day again for them. But for us, we have 2 days. We're here with Knesset Israel Synagogue, and for Reform Jews, they don't have really a second day. That's why they're having a funeral today. The traditional movement, I've done funerals on second days, but like after services, like in the afternoon, because everybody's different. And I like to help people when I can. And for people who have one day, they'll have it today, and then they'll have the 7th day probably as Yontif, and then we have 4 days of Yontif, plus Shabbos in between. That is why there's so many days that restaurants in the traditional world this year won't go kosher at Pesach, because there's very few days when they can bring a crowd in to eat that stuff. We're going to talk about our Seders last night. We're going to talk about Haggadah. We're going to talk about the Talmud. We're going to talk about some different things. We're going to sing some major prayers and do them in a creative way. And we're going to talk a lot about the Omer. What's the Omer?
The days between Pesach and Shavuot.
Yes. How many days are there? 49. 7 complete weeks. And we'll talk about that tradition. What is the difference between 7 weeks and 7 complete weeks? Very Talmudic. We're going to I hope you have a good time today. If you want to get a glass of water, you want to sit there, you want to put your feet up on the chair, whatever you want to do. Just, I'm happy you're here, and I hope we'll have a great time. If we have a minyan, we're going to do one group aliyah with all of us sitting together. One big circle with everybody in it, as we used to sing at camp. And we'll do Hallel, and hopefully we'll have a good time. We say, V'samachta b'chagecha, shall rejoice in your holiday. And there's a whole lot of ways to rejoice. Let us give thanks that, you know, we're not over there right now. They're having a funeral, and it's a big crowd.
Do you
It's
know who it is? Who is it?
Ellen Finkelstein?
Does she belong to KI?
Yeah, I'm sure, because it's like a big crowd there. Supposedly, the family is, I was talking to a guy, he said the husband, the father, whatever, they're all CPAs, and they've taken care of a lot of people for a lot of years. So I don't know anything more about it, but our condolences to them, we expressed it already. So that's what we're going to do, and we hope you'll have a lot of fun. I want to begin by sharing a bracha, a blessing with you. No, I want to begin with, no, I'll do that then the talis afterwards. I want to tell you about this. So, you know that whenever we light Nerot candles, we have traditions of blessing. And we just had 2 nights, and then we'll have a 3rd night Shabbos, and then 2 in the end. So a lot of nights of Nerot. Anybody ever been to Israel? Have you ever been to a hotel in Israel on Shabbos? Have you seen candlelighting? You know what they do? They have in the lobby, or near the dining room, the charochel, long tables with little tea light candles. And they have enough pairs for like everybody in the hotel. So what people do before they go to Shabbos dinner is they get 2 candles, they light them, they bless people around them. And it's a big thing in hotels in Israel. I don't know, it was one of my last 2 trips to Israel. It was in Eilat. I took my daughter Lana, her daughter Lucy, my granddaughter, and her husband Ophir, and his sisters, a bunch of us. We went to Eilat for Shabbat, and we went into the lobby, and I had pictures on my phone of my daughter blessing my granddaughter for Shabbat. So people do that and we bless each other. There's a lot of ways we can bless each other. We can bless each other with love, support, compassion, hugs, and kisses, but we also bless each other with words. So I want to bless all of you and all of us. We say for all the women who are here, Yisimech Elohim, Kesar, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah. May God bless you as He did Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. To all the men, I want to say Yisimcha Elohim, Ephraim, and Manasseh. May God bless you as He did Ephraim and Manasseh. And for all of us, Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May the Lord bless you and keep you. Yair Adonai panav elecha v'chonecha. May God cause His Spirit to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God lift His face up to you and grant you peace. Amen. We hope you will be blessed. We hope you will feel blessed. And I always say to people, may you enjoy your blessings and share your blessings with others. Amen. So these are very meaningful ways to begin holidays and Shabbat to enjoy that. Talis. This was an Ethiopian Jewish creation. Years ago, a lot of you know the Ethiopian Jewish story, how Israel went in, and they walked by day through fear, through violence from, I think, Ethiopia to the Sudan. That time when it happened was so long ago. But they got to Israel, they got to Sudan, and Israel had sent at least one plane, if not more. Who did they take out first, the kids or the adults? They got a 50% guess here. Kids. They took out the little ones, and then they came back later. I forgot when. I think it had a different name. There was like Operation Exodus, Operation Moses. They took out the parents later. They took them to Israel. For a group of people who lived in primitive times, really, modern world primitive times, they were scared out of their minds. You can't even imagine. Put ourselves in other people's shoes. They were scared of the jet. They had never seen a silver bird. And they were asked to get in it. That was petrifying. Then when it got to Israel, they were scared of two-story buildings. They had never seen one. They didn't know what it was to go up in a building. Can you imagine? We take these things for granted. Elevators, planes. But for people that have never seen it before, you know, we see these things before we're old enough to know. But they got there, and the Ethiopians, you know, made a place for themselves and lived together, lived in different places. And now they're a big part of the society, contributing to the army and speaking Hebrew as fluently as anybody else and raising their kids. And they have strengthened the state of Israel and the Jewish people. Same thing with the Soviet Jews when they came down to the Soviet Union. So it's a good thing. People today talk about women's rights, and this shul should talk about the place of women in the service. It's interesting how it's done. It's not all in sync here. Women are counted in the minyan. Women come up for aliyot, but women aren't counted in the amidah. They're not said, and things like that. So it's interesting to have a conversation about that. Someone said, and I agree with them, is that the Jewish people were such a small number that we can't afford to leave anybody out. Can't afford to do it. So welcome everybody. Welcome the women or people that you know are not used to women participating, and it still is big in the world today. For better or for worse. I mean, some communities are fine with that, like the Hasidic communities, but others are not. Last night at my Seder, and we were together online. Was anybody else there last night? On the Zoom Seder?
What?
Our Zoom Seder, anybody else join us?
Yeah.
We were there.
Were you on the Zoom Seder?
Not this night.
Oh, okay. So we had a really good time, and one of the things I talked about was, and we'll talk about some of these creative questions later, on our Seder plate for years now, we've been putting an,
Orange?
yes, wine.
LGBT people.
Um,
Okay.
know, I mean, these things can represent a lot of things, but the
Right.
original meaning, from what I understand, the story, is that Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel's daughter, Susanna, became like a rabbi, and older traditional man looked at her on the bima and said, women belong in the bima like an orange belongs on a Seder plate. So then people started putting oranges on Seder plates. What?
We had one on our.
So did we. And I was married to a woman who was like an incredible Asian chayil. And I have 3 daughters, and they're all doing Jewish things, you know, here and there. And to say to the women, you know, more than half of us, you're not equally included, and to start wondering whether they're going to be okay with that. The Hasidic world, they do it. That's what they do. They know they're not counting in the minion. They know that. But in our world, so I think the more the merrier. We can't afford not to have everybody in.
And now we do a Miriam cup.
Coast Miriam, I showed it last night.
Yep.
The one I use, and again,
Fill it with water. Fill it with water.
yes, filled with water. Why?
Because she found the wells.
Miriam was credited with locating water for the Israelites through the desert, because when she died, right after that, it says that the Israelites could not find water. So what happened? Miriam died. Also, Miriam saved her brother from the Nile.
That's right.
Another water aspect. So you have all that. Extending that a little bit, how many days a week do we read Torah?
3.
3, 6,
Thursday and Saturday.
20, 40?
Thursday.
You're probably all right. Let's go through them. Monday morning,
Thursday morning,
Thursday morning,
Saturday morning,
Saturday morning,
Sunday morning.
nope,
No,
go back,
Monday again.
go back.
Oh, Saturday afternoon.
You said how many days?
Afternoon. What?
Did you say how many times or how many days?
Oh, Saturday night.
I don't even know what my name is. Forget what I'm saying.
You said days.
The point is, yeah, the point is how many, right, all right, so 2 on Saturday, there you go. So let's say, I did say days, okay? So you're all right, nobody's wrong here. So you got 3 days, and then of course Pesach we'll read every day, and Hanukkah you read every day, so it's at least 3 days a week. Why do we read 3 days, and why those days? Why don't we read every day?
I was told it's so that you don't forget, it's not that long a distant time apart that you forget what you read or forget to do it or something like that.
That's lovely. I could argue against that. Well then, Monday to Thursday is a long time. Thursday to Saturday is just 1 day in between. Saturday to Monday is 1 day in between, but Monday to Thursday, you got
If
2 days in between.
Wednesday, if Monday and Wednesday, that would be both there, so.
Right. Good, excellent. Boy, you guys came ready to go to battle with it. Way to go. There's a couple of reasons. In ancient market days, people would often come to the market on Monday and Thursday, and Ezra and others started really the first adult education series. They would teach the people Torah when they were there. No sense in doing it when they weren't there. So Monday and Thursdays were traditional. There's another beautiful midrash that says, a person can't live 3 days without water. Water's compared to Torah, so just like we can't go more than 3 days without water, we can't go more than 3 days without Torah. Whatever it is, we know what Torah means to us. We do so much with the Torah. We learn it, we take it out, we do this, that, and people read Torah, they listen to the Torah, it's a great thing. Questions that are coming out of my, in the moment, creativity. Is there a tradition for preparing for the Shabbos Torah reading in terms of like, do you have to be familiar with it? Or you just come and listen to it? Is there any tradition about that, preparing for the reading? I'll give you the answer, yes.
Yeah.
Now the question is, what's the tradition? Shelley, welcome. What's the tradition? You're supposed to read the Sidra, the Parsha, 3 times before Shabbos morning.
Wow.
2 and 1. Twice in Hebrew, so you get familiar with the Hebrew, and once in what language?
It's English, but whatever language you're associated with.
Any language that you understand. So one strong tradition is that you don't have to understand the Hebrew to listen to it, to get something from it, to be familiar. And another one is, if you can understand it, it's great. So you read it in English or French or Russian or whatever you understand. And that's what people try to do, the language of your understanding. So that's a little bit about the Torah. Getting back to this. Years ago, does the name Danny Siegel mean anything to you guys?
Oh my God, yeah.
Who is he?
The songwriter, isn't he?
Not really songs. Danny is a poet,
Oh, right.
but he's known he used to be known as the great conservative movement Tzedakah man. Danny would go to shuls, would go to individuals, and he would promote the mitzvah tzedakah. So I haven't seen him in years, but we were friends many years ago through USY days.
Yeah, how old is
We
he?
brought Danny into our shul for a weekend, and what he did was, he talked about how everybody can help with tzedakah. So for example, he would say, does anybody live near a bakery? People would put up their hands. And he would say, do you know if they throw out food at the end of the day, at the end of the week? Because, you know, there's a tradition that you don't sell a day old, whatever it is. He would say, if you want to do a mitzvah, go to that bakery, ask them, are you throwing out anything at the end of today? Not because it's rotten, but because we just couldn't sell it. We don't sell day old bread. And ask them, can you have it? As long as you're going to throw it out, can we have it? And so people were going to bakeries, supermarkets, shoe stores. You know, they don't sell reshoe. They come real regular or whatever. And they would collect all these things and give them to homeless and hungry people.
There's a website now called Too Good To Go, that you can go on that website, and they list all the restaurants around the area, and whatever's left over, you can go there and purchase for a very minimal price.
There you go. Rather than throw it out,
Correct,
feed people, shoe
Yes.
people, clothe them.
yeah,
What an amazing mitzvah.
yeah,
The opening brachot, which we're going to turn to shortly, says that God, Malbish Aronim, clothes the naked. So the question is, how could you act like God in the time of your day? How can you walk in God's footsteps? Do what God does. Like God clothes the naked, gives sight to the blind, you do the same. And this way you and God are shutafim, partners together in the act of fixing the world. So that's what Danny did. And Danny brought this talus with him. And I said, what is this? He says, it's Ethiopian Jewish talus. He says, I hope someone will buy it because the proceeds go to the Ethiopian Jewish community. And right away I was all over it.
Yeah.
For that alone. But also, I'm an artist, I love colors, I love red when it pops and all that, and I saw this, I went, that's mine. You know how many years I've been wearing this? If you would take a look at it,
Yeah.
it's like, I'm wearing it until it falls off me. And I've had it sewn so many times, but I can't let it go. I have several talitot, and when I was in Israel a few months ago, I bought another one, but like, this is my colors, you know, I dig this one. My daughter Alana dated an Ethiopian Jew for a while, and my wife said to her, he's so handsome, you guys will have great babies. Jewish mother. So I love this. I tried to get it replaced, but I couldn't find it anywhere. Although someone said they saw it online, I couldn't find it. Then a few years ago, one of my dearest friends, a colleague, Rabbi Chezi Zions in Toronto, died. And I did the funeral, and I went to Shiva, and I didn't know it, but Zeke had the same talus. And I looked at his kids, and I wanted to say to them, if you guys don't want it, I'll take it, wear it proudly. B'Shem Avicha, your father's name. But I just didn't feel like it was the right time to ask, you know. Because I have your dad's talus, got his car, got his house. So, I don't know where that talus is, but I really love it for all those reasons. So this is what connects us to tradition, and really good things. So let's tackle a creative question, then we'll get into a little bit of Siddur. We all have Seder plates. You know, they're all different, right? It's interesting sometimes. People ask, over at my house last night, someone said, what's chazeret? I never saw that before. So, you know, you explain the different Seder plates. Tell me if you want, tell us, what is a favorite symbol of yours? And maybe what would you add to it if you had the chance to? And you do, I had an orange on my Seder plate last night, some other things. That his favorite symbol, or something you would add to it? I know, the creative questions, I know, it's all right, take your time. You can come back to them, I'm throwing them out. So if you want to come back to them, do that. I will tell you that we talked about last night, I don't know how big it is today, but it's a bigger issue than yesteryear. People said that the only food you should eat is food that was fair trade, where people who brought it to your table were treated with respect and paid a fair amount of wages. Because there's a lot of people, you know, that are slave workers, they don't get paid, you know, a human wage, and they're taken advantage of. So there are people that say that you should only eat stuff that's properly prepared that way. I don't even know how you figure that stuff out. There was in the conservative movement a number of years ago, it disappeared, it didn't fly. But there was a symbol called the Hechsher Tzedek. You guys remember that? Did you hear about that?
What is it?
The Hechsher Tzedek. Hechsher Tzedek, Hechsher is the mark of supervision. Tzedek, righteousness. The conservative movement, some leaders proposed that for you to use a product, it had to be kosher, but the Hechsher Tzedek said that it was brought to your table fairly, that the people who brought it there, like people who pick grapes, whatever they do, they weren't treated poorly, they were paid the fair amount of wages, and it didn't come at their expense. So it was known as the Hechsher Tzedek. And the conservative world, people who knew this, got split like Republicans and Democrats. The argument for it, I think, is obvious. You want to treat people with respect. But the argument against it, which a good friend of mine, who's a traditional Jew, said, you know, it's hard enough to just eat kosher. Now you're going to start putting other, you know, standards on it, like there'll be no end to the matter, like we talked about the other day. So he wasn't in favor of it. But whenever you can treat people fairly, you should treat people fairly. Think about yourself. If you're rendering a service, I'm sure you don't want to be cheated by whoever takes it. And that's a great thing that's wrong. Tzedek, 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 pursue righteousness. If you think of a Seder symbol, please do so. Page 103 in our Siddur. We're going to jump all around here. I hope you'll enjoy taking the journey with me. Also want to welcome Roseanne. Nice to see you. Welcome to the shul this morning. Roseanne and Susan are friends, right? That's what I heard.
Through Camp Galil, Rabbi.
What?
Through Camp Galil.
Did you go to Galil?
I did.
So did I.
Really?
Oh, yeah. You kidding? Huge.
Yeah.
But you're probably a lot younger than I am. Like 6 months, 9 months. Do you remember when you went there?
Yeah, I was there in 1987 and 1988.
Okay, so I was there like 10 years before,
Okay.
you know, and a little 10 to 12 years before. Did you have a good time?
Yeah.
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 It was a great, anybody who went to Galil was like such a unique camp, you know? So it's great. I'm so glad.
Thank you for plugging that on YouTube.
Today's service is brought to you by Camp Galil of Oxford, Pennsylvania, where your kids can grow and thrive in the Zionistic tradition. More at 11. Galil is, from what I understand, it's similar to them, but different. Like, it was just different times, the 70s. So you're not going to get the 70s in the 2020s, but they still have a great spirit. Geez, we could probably all write books about our time at Galil. Yeah? Yeah, I could, but it's a no-tell, no, you know, what happens at Galil stays at Galil. All right. Page 103. We begin with brachot. Brachot are such a big part of Jewish life, as you know. There's a traditional number, I'll give you a hint, it's a round number, it's not an obscure number, of how many brachot blessings a traditional Jew should say a day. Remember, guesses are free. I'm not throwing you out if you give a wrong answer. I didn't know this stuff a long time ago either. More. Think for a second. What does a traditional Jew do every day?
Right.
Yeah. blessings are in each service? How many blessings are in the Amidah? It's called 18, but it's 19. You do that 3 times a day. 19 times 3, help me out, I think it's 57. Just by saying 3 Amidot, you're up to 57. Anybody here eat? I do.
Never.
We say brachot before and after. The traditional number is 100. You're supposed to say 100 blessings a day. Just like a Rosh Hashanah, there's 100 blasts of the shofar each day. And there are more. I mean, if you study, if you do things like this, I was studying Daf Yomi the other day, the Daily Talmudic page, and Reb Leibowitz referred to the blessing overseeing a Talmud Chacham, overseeing a real smart, wise rabbi. And he often talks about that the rabbis of today, no disrespect to anything, but they're not like the rabbis of yesteryear. You know? Talks about that.
Sorry.
Huh?
Sorry.
You know, everyone's got different opinions, and that's for another time. But some people believe the further back in time you go, the more integrity you have and the more traditional and stuff, because the further back you go, the closer you get to Mount Sinai, Revelation, Shavuot. But on the other hand, we have a tradition that says when you're deciding legal matters, if you have different opinions, what do you follow? The latest one, the most recent one. Like if there was an opinion 100 years ago and an opinion yesterday, you follow yesterday, because the thinking is that the people who said it yesterday knew what they said 100 years ago. So you do the recent one. So we go back and forth on time. But there's a blessing for seeing a Talmud Chacham. You look at a Siddur, like the art scroll, I can bring it sometime, so we'll do it. There's a blessing over seeing the ocean for the first time. There's a blessing over seeing the moon, Kiddush Levana. There's blessings for all sorts of things. Years ago, Linda's family was from St. Louis. A bunch of them came to visit us up in Philadelphia. We took them to the ocean. They stood in the boardwalk and they went, "Oh my God, we've never seen the ocean before."
Really?
Well, if you live in St. Louis and you don't go to California or the coast, they never saw the ocean before. So sometimes we take for granted what we know, what we've seen. There's blessings for everything. 100 brachot today, a day. It's not that hard if you live in traditional Jewish life. So here's my next creative question, besides the Seder plate. What is a blessing that you could say from your heart right now? We have all the traditional ones. God has let me see, He raises me up, He makes me a Jew, He gives me strength. What can we add to it today?
Thank you for my family.
For
For my family, amazing family. You don't
nothing
realize
like
how
loved
lucky you
ones.
are, you know.
And amen. Nothing like family and loved ones. Not everybody has a family. Not everybody has an easy family. Right? Thank you for that. Any others? What's a creative bracha you might say today?
Thank you that I have a roof over my head and food to eat.
They just had tornadoes in the Midwest a little while ago. People on live on the news said, I was in a building, I saw the roof get flooded off. First of all, they're lucky they're alive, but to have 4 walls and a building, what happens when the electricity goes out? We're all like, when's it coming back?
My phone, it's not working.
Thank you for those basics, beautiful. Susan, what else?
Thank you for letting us appreciate the breath.
The
The breath.
Live.
within us? Like breathing? Yeah. We talk about that. You know where you get a lot of that, Susan? People like to do that breathing with Shema Yisrael. They breathe in, breathe out, they say Shema, and they kind of like take that moment in consciously, mindfully, with the sense of Shema Yisrael. And you can do it with any prayer. To focus on it, people like to focus on their breathing, reminds them they're alive. Beautiful. Without breath, we have no life. Without water, we have no life. Without prayers, we have no hope. Beautiful. If anybody wants to add answers as we go along, please do so. I want to give thanks for you guys today. Here we are. What?
For your help?
What do they say? When we're little, we hear it. We don't understand it until we get older, and then we deal with it. They say, if you have your health, you have everything. Right? Absolutely. We got a canner whose brother is very sick right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He wasn't here yesterday or today. Because, Shelley, you have an update on that?
His brother was transferred to a specialty hospital.
Oh, geez.
Okay. All right, well, we're praying for him. We'll do today. And you never know. Some of us lose our health over a period of time, and we see it coming. Some of us lose our health terrifying in the wink of an eye. You never know what your fate's going to be. So while you have the strength, while you have the health, do what you can do. And along with that, I'll implore you, me, all of us, I do it so often. If there's someone that you need to make amends with, don't wait. Because you don't know if you get a chance tomorrow. You know how many funerals I go to, and I see people go, I wish I would have talked to you for the past 30 years. I wish I wouldn't have fought with you and let it break down. So when you have the strength, while we're yet alive, is the time to do good things. I love this blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Olam, hanoten la'ev koach. Bless you, O Lord, who gives strength to the weary. When I do funerals, think about your lives. People often say to me, Rabbi, what am I going to do? I got to get shiva together. I got to do this. I got to mourn. I got to do the whole thing. And I always tell people, let's be in the moment. Let's get through the next hour. The service. One thing at a time. Let's hear eulogies. Let's say prayers. We'll get to the cemetery. We'll say mourner's cottage. After that, let's worry about the rest. It's too much to carry everything with you at once. What am I going to do for the rest of my life? I mean, I deal with that. My wife died 6 years ago. Now what? You know? Meanwhile, our girls are grown and one got married and has a baby, and I'm lamenting the fact that she's not here, hopefully in spirit. But a lot of us do that. I try to get people to focus. Paul Colo wrote an amazing book. I think it's on Psalm 23. And he said, God has given you the strength you need to get through today. You're worried about tomorrow? Wake up tomorrow, and God will give you the strength you need to get through tomorrow, if you're a person of faith. You don't have to worry about everything all at once. Step by step, day by day. So I love that blessing, because I hope I'll have the strength to get through today, and tomorrow I'll worry about tomorrow. We are on page 106, sing Shema together. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Guys, we all know what Shema means, right? You know about the tradition of covering your eyes when you say Shema? You ever see people go like this before Shema? Why do we do that? There's a reason for everything.
Knock out distractions.
Excellent. That's why a lot of people daven like this. Because they don't want to see that person, and they want to focus. Sometimes they do the whole service like this, but especially what part of the service? Amidah. Right, exactly. They don't want to have distraction. They want to focus on their prayers, their kavanah, their words, etc. When you cover your eyes for the Shema, should you do it for every Shema? Like, today we have at least 3 of them, if not more. Should you do it for everyone? I'll give you a hint. It's yes or no.
You're supposed to do it for the,
Roseanne, go ahead. What's the second one?
it's the Shacharit Amidah.
You mean the one before the Amidah Shachrit, right? The major one?
I'm sorry, it's the one in Shacharit, yeah, the one.
Right.
before Amidah. Yeah.
Roseanne, excellent. That's the tradition tradition I grew up with too. That you cover your eyes just for the one, not for all of them, because that's the major one. There are people who will cover their eyes for all of them, and I never tell them don't. Whatever inspires you, moves you, it's the same words. But traditionally we had that. So we talked a little bit about why. I knew a man, very traditional. When we said Shema, and this was like his thing, he was always looking for something a little different. When he said Shema, he would go like this. Why?
Hearing Israel, sure.
Yeah, if you're supposed to hear, then focus on this. The reason why some people do this is they say that when you're deprived of one of your senses, other ones become more acute. So by closing my eyes, I hear myself more. So I'm hearing the words. Excellent, guys. Any comments or questions? Oh, welcome back. Good to see you guys.
A little late, sorry about that.
You know what? If I had a nickel for every time I said what I'm going to say to you now, I'd be like Rothschild. I only take it. Tell me your name again.
Danny.
So I only take attendance when you're here.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thanks, Rob.
Good to see you. All of us should have been later. We had a big Seder last night. We're tired. We ate a lot. It's good to see you. Boys, tell me your names again.
Simon.
And Jonah, right. Good to see you guys. Welcome. We're talking about life, Judaism, Pesach, the Siddur, the Seder, all these things. So he used to go like this because it helped him to hear. He was drawing attention to hear. Okay. All right, let's see where we're going next. I want to sing you a song that we sang last night. You don't have the words, I'm sorry, but you can just enjoy it. And it started our Seder. Cleaning and cooking and so many dishes. Out with the chametz, no pasta, no knishes. Fish that's gefilte, horseradish that stings. These are a few of our Passover things. Matzah and karpas and chopped up charoset. Shank bones and kiddush and Yiddish neuroses. Tante who kvetches and uncle who sings. These are a few of our Passover things. When the plague strike, when the lice bite, when we're feeling sad, we simply remember our Passover things, and then we don't feel so bad. Isn't that cute? There are so many offerings. I know. What?
There's a lot of these.
Oh, so many. You can get so much online, and for most of us, we're done with the starring this year, but I know a lot of people are having starring tonight and tomorrow because their crowds can't make it during the week, they come on the weekend. So if you're moved, we have some handouts for you, and you can find these things online. There is a Haggadah to Dr. Seuss. It's really adorable. I have parts of it here. There are all sorts of Haggadah, and you can take advantage of them. Okay, let's see. What do we want to do next? Oh, let's do this. Do we have a menu? All right, maybe when Shelley comes back. Susan, you're in charge. You got to tell me if we have a menu or not. Okay, we'll get there. Oh, yeah. Tell you something about a minion. You find this interesting. The Talmud talked about this. When we talk about a minion, what are we talking about?
10 men.
10, all right, you said 10 men.
10 women and men. I meant that.
There are people who only count men. So it's 10 men. There are others like us who count men and women 10. Most places count people of at least bar mitzvah age. They don't count like babies, you know? Is there any other way to count a minion? If you know Judaism, the answer is always yes. There's a million different ways. What do they say about Jews? You ask a Jew a question, 10 Jews a question, you get 12 opinions.
Right.
Right? Susan?
I take it back, we do have a minion if you count a Torah.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Okay. We could do that for sure. A former shul of mine used to count one. I used to kid around and say, you know, in the morning, I'm just going to get like 9 Torahs and me and sleep and daven, I'll have a minyan. That'll be it. But there are people who count the Sefer Torah, because the Sefer Torah is often compared to a person. So I've had the opportunity several times in my life to have to take a Sefer Torah out of the synagogue somewhere, like a bar mitzvah or something, a service. So you know what I would do? I would take the Torah scroll out, I would put it in the back seat of my car, and I would put the seatbelt around it. All right, here it comes. You ready? When I did that, what did I have? Oh, it's HOV? That's hilarious. Officer, I'm not alone. That's hilarious, Roseanne. I never thought of that one.
Purple lane.
Yeah, more than one occupant. That's really funny. I had, you ready? I had a Sefer Torah.
Safer, yeah. More safe.
I didn't write this stuff, guys. I'm just passing it along. How were your Seder's last night? Tell us something you loved. Tell us something that worked. Tell us something that didn't work. Anything. Anybody?
We just go around as a family and read. It's just so nice to have the whole family reading the story.
There you go. That works. You got the family together.
Yeah.
And whoever you have is usually a group you want. It's great. Beautiful. Glad you enjoyed that. Not everybody does. Any other comments on the Seder last night?
It's always based around the youngest person.
What?
It's always based around whoever the youngest person is there.
Often. Yes. A dear friend invited me last night. He's a very traditional guy, but this year was the year of the little kids. I had 2 daughters that were little kids. He started at 5, which is way earlier than dark, when some people wait till shot. But he said, got the little kids. What are you going to do? We often had Siddharim where we would wait to eat, but we would put all sorts of things on the table for the kids to eat.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That's built into the Haggadah, right?
Yeah.
Right? When you eat the parsley early, it's built into it before you say the bracha and hamotzi. So good for you. I hope you enjoyed every one of them. That's great. We're going to turn in our Siddurim now to page 128. 128. This is Psalm 34. It's an acrostic. You've got a line with Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Daled, Hey. It's highlighted. Look at the right. I want to invite you to sing with me, Mi Ha'ish, right in the middle of the men. Mi Ha'ish, Echafetz Chaim, Ohev Yamim, Ohev Yamim, Lirotov. Mi Ha'ish, Echafetz Chaim, Ohev Yamim, Ohev Yamim, Lirotov. Nitzor Lashon Chameira, Usatecha Mikaber Mirma, Sor Meira Yasei Tov, Baki Shalom, V'Rodfehu, Mi Ha'ish, Techafetz Chaim, Ohev Yamim, Lirotov. Translation: who is the person who desires life and wants to love what is good all of your life? In order to do so, you have to guard your tongue from speaking evil and from your mouth, going in a bad direction. Depart from evil and do good, and seek peace and pursue it. Who is famous in Jewish history for not only seeking peace but pursuing it? Big Jewish personality from yesteryear. That's a great modern answer, perhaps, but I'm thinking about the Torah. Did I hear another answer? Aaron, right. Aaron. Moshe could say a lot of great things about him, but Aaron was known for this. Aaron was a Hey Shalom or a Dave Shalom. He loved peace and he would pursue it. So the question is asked, what does it mean to pursue peace? And they gave an example. If Aaron knew that 2 people were fighting, he would go up to the first one and he would say, where's your buddy? We had a fight. go, you know what? I can't believe it. I just saw him. He was like crying. I said, what's the matter? He said, I just fought with my best friend. I'm so distraught. I don't want to lose him. I don't know what to do. And he would say to him, I can't believe it. I just saw your friend. He was crying. He said the same thing to me. Then we go to the other one, say the same thing. What we try to do? Bring them together. Exactly. And isn't that what Judaism is all about? Unity? One God, one people, one Torah, right? It's a great thing. But then, you know, we don't get away easy in Judaism. What was the counter question to that? Did Aaron lie? Or was that okay? Right? If I came up to Samuel and said, Samuel, Susan's so upset that she had a fight with you. And Susan heard that, and Susan goes, no, I'm not. I'm thrilled I did. But I'm lying to bring them together. Is it okay if I lie? We're told not to lie. Tough questions, huh? You didn't think I was giving a final today. What?
Except for the purpose of peace.
L'shem shalom, you could do a lot. You could do a lot. What's the most important thing? Shalom bayis. That you have peace in the house. So if you're trying to bring people together, you could argue, yeah, that's a good reason to tell a little lie. Susan?
The intent of goodness is there first.
Kavanah is huge in Jewish life. The Talmud talks about it, we could write books on it, intention. The basic question is it okay that you intend to do a mitzvah or not? Do you have to do it, or is the intention good enough? And all the answers go both ways. There are people who say the intention is good enough, and others say, no, you got to do it. You know, it's not enough. You know, what do they say? The road to hell is paved with good intentions? So sometimes it's not enough. Certain prayers demand strong kavanah, good intention. If someone would say to you, what prayers really demand kavanah, and what prayers maybe not so much? What might you argue?
Amidah.
Yeah, huge. Why do people put their taluses over their heads? Why do they not talk? You've been in shuls? I've been in plenty of places. People to say the Amidah, they'll go like to the back corner. They want to focus on their prayers with God. They don't want to think about what you're wearing, what you said, how you feel. They're all alone. They have the intention. They want to pray with all their hearts, with all living bone. What happens if you fix Shema's another one? Shema's another one. Talmud says in Brachot, if you wake up early before it's light and you climb a tree to pick apples, because that's your job, and it comes time to say Shema, are you allowed to say the Shema on the top of the tree? So one answer would be, sure, he has Kriya Shema. The time for Shema came. But another answer would be, well, if you're going to focus so hard on saying the Shema that you could fall out of the tree because you lose your sense of where you are, then you shouldn't do it. Same thing with the Amidah. There are times, I've done it many times in my life. You've done it too, other people have done it. We'll go through the Amidah, saying it fast, I'm finished, and I went, did I just say the Amidah? I don't remember one word I said. I was thinking about the Phillies, I was thinking about one Seder, I was thinking about you. Do I have to say it again? If I know I did not pay enough attention, do you have to say it again? Remember, the correct answer is always yes and no. You can't go wrong. What's an answer for yes?
The answer for yes would be that you should mean or feel the words that you're saying.
Yeah. I know I didn't say it as well as I should. I know I didn't. So say it again. What's the answer for no?
You technically fulfilled the obligation.
That's a great answer. Tell me maybe that.
Danny.
Danny, give me names, Danny. That's the best thing my wife did for me in life among so many things. She'd stand next to me and go, you remember Danny? And I'd go like, sure, Danny, how you been? She'd go in the son, Simon and Jonah. Of course I do. Great. An answer for no? You could say the Amidah in Jerusalem at the Kotel. I did a few months ago. Great moment. I hope you all been there. If not, we'll get there. you ever really say, I said that prayer with everything, that I gave it all? As they say in sports, that I left it all out on the court. Can you ever really say you gave it all? It was the best Kavanagh I could possibly do. I don't know. So, you did it. You try your best. I would say next time. Next time, Danny, put your cell phone away. Don't talk to your friends. Don't make bets on horse races while you're doing the Amidah. They're probably a little better for you.
On the Phillies.
Oh, there you go. Opening day today.
Well, I'm a Mets fan, so it might be a certain way on the Phillies.
That's okay, Danny. I wrote an article that got published in the Inquirer, our local paper, years ago, about the Phillies and the Yankees. I was so moved to write this article. If you and I lose friendship because of who we like in sports, then you and I don't know what's going on. We don't. My middle daughter, who lives in Israel now, grew up a Cowboys fan. We were Phillies fans. We were in Philly and then in Washington. I suspect that she fell in love with the star. She got taunted so much, and I defended her all the way. And for her bat mitzvah, I took her to Dallas, to the Eagles Dallas, so she could know what it's like to be in the majority. That's love. It's just simple love. You're a Mets fan, I wish you all the luck in the world.
Except when you're playing the Phillies.
You know, I was trying to make a point. I didn't want to add that, but what are you going to do? Guys, take a look at page 128. See in the margin, we just sang Ni'aish, beautiful song. The Chofetz Chaim was a famous commentator, and his Mefarshim, his Perushim are well read. See where it says, depart from evil and do good, by Simcha Bonim? This always spoke to me. Depart from evil means to stop obsessing over the wrongs you've committed, let go of your guilt, and just go out and do good. If you're like me, so often it's hard to get over things. I did this wrong. I didn't do this right. I wish I had done it better. And he's telling us, let it go. Let it go. Just start a new day. Start fresh. That's why the sun comes up every day, to give you permission to do it. When do we focus on it? Rosh Hashanah and Kippur, right? I'm sorry, Chatati, right? Forgive me. And we start out the year anew. We talked about that yesterday, but it's not always so easy to do. Sometimes we just struggle. There's an amazing anecdote I just told yesterday, I think. After World War II, a Nazi who was alive went up to a rabbi who'd survived and said, please, I'm asking you for forgiveness for my role in the death of 6 million and 11 million altogether. Talk about doing evil and talk about wanting to move on. And the rabbi said to him, he said, and this is very traditional with Kol Nidre, I have no right to forgive you for the killing of 11 million. You have to get forgiveness from them. Not sure how you do that after people have died. Sometimes it might be too late. But my prayer for all of us today is I know we all want to be good. I wish some of us would be a little bit more on time for services. My new friend, man. Hey, where do you live?
In New York.
Where?
Long Island in Roslyn.
Really? Oh, I've been there. All right.
Not too far.
I'm considering you a new friend and your boys.
Happy to be here.
Happy to have you. You're always welcome.
Thank you.
So sometimes you just have to let it go. A final word on this. I hope this speaks to you, because you can't always rectify everything. A final word on this. With the modern Israeli-Palestinian conflict, if we're waiting to get to the heart of the roots of that body and go back to Abraham and Ishmael and Isaac and sort it out, because you know what happens every time there's a conflict? Well, they started it. No, we didn't. Yeah, but you started last time. So we're just responding. No, we didn't. You did it. We did it. Really? What does that beget? More violence. There's going to have to come a guy like Saddam, who put it aside and made peace with Israel. Egypt, amazing. There's going to have to come the younger generation of children who are going to be willing to say, you You've done things wrong, I've done things wrong. We have to start over. Just like Rosh Hashanah and Kippur. Because we're not gonna figure this out. Back in 1800, what you did, 1917, 1948, it's not gonna happen. It's beyond us. You gotta let it go. So like it says here, let go. There's a time to hold on and a time to let go. I hope all of you will let go from the things that you don't need, that keep you back in life. We are moving ahead. We're gonna skip a bunch of pages. We're just, you can see, we're doing a bunch of prayers, and we're doing a bunch of Seder things, and I want to focus on the Omer today. We have a minyan here? Did someone say we have a minyan?
With the Torah, I think you have to.
Okay, good. I wanted to take up the Torah and have a group aliyah, so we'll see what we can do, or maybe we'll just do it from the Chumash, we'll see. Turn to page 136. Page 136 is Ashrei, it's an acrostic. The mem line is a beautiful song, Malchutcha. You guys know the song? Malchutcha, Malchut kol olamim, umemshaltecha, bechol dor vador. 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 It's a beautiful melody. If any of you remember years ago, they had the Hasidic song festivals that came around the country from Israel. That one year was like the highlighted song. Everybody loved that. Take a look at page 143. The story of Egypt, Exodus, Yetziat Mitzrayim is so huge that we don't wait 8 days a year to talk about it. We say it every day. Look at 143. Az Yashir Moshe. Every day do we say this? Because the whole idea from slavery to freedom and going to get the Torah is so huge that we don't wait. We do it every day. Also, you see the way it is written, how there's big spaces between the lines and the phrases? This is a song. It's one of a couple of songs in the Bible, and scholars say that the songs in the Bible are probably the oldest recorded pieces of the Torah in the Bible that they've ever seen. Another famous song is the Song of Deborah. So this gives us a little clue. True anecdote. You see the way it is on that page? In my former shul, we acquired one year a Czechoslovakian Torah. Anybody know what they are? Did you ever hear those? The Czech Torahs? During World War II, 6 million Jews, countless towns. What's the name of the date? When they destroyed the synagogue. Kristallnacht, thank you. So much Judaism and Jews were killed and destroyed.
My father grew up there. They got out by the skin of their teeth in
Really?
1939. Yeah.
Wow, so that's part of your story.
Yeah.
Are they still alive, your parents?
No.
Did they survive the Holocaust?
Yeah, my mother was born here. My father and his family came over in 1939. He was 21 years old, and he went into the American Army, and he came out, he was still a sergeant, but he did intelligence work because he could speak English, German, and Czech.
Right.
And he was doing intelligence work. And I found out much later, he told me he was offered to go to Nuremberg to translate, but he wanted to come home. If he had gone, I might not be here because he met my mother after he came
Right.
back.
Todal Ayel, that's part of your story. Thank God he survived.
Yeah.
So many people did. So many Jews did everything they could to keep Jews alive, so many non-Jews, saved Jews, and Jewish items, artifacts. The Czech Torahs were a group of Torahs that were saved from the Holocaust, and after, I think they were all taken to England, and then they were given out to synagogues around the world who promised to take care of them and give them a home.
They're in London, and they're numbered.
Yes, yes. So our synagogue got one because we had a family who brought it to us. It's in a glass case where we have it open, and I have it open to Shir Hayam, but for a particular reason, not just to show the different column and how wide it was. That particular column has a stain in the street that runs through it. And I guess we could find out, but some say it's mud, you know, Sefer Torah, which is treated like trash. But I think it's blood. I really do. And so I keep it open to remind us. But for the grace of God, millions died, we're alive. What an amazing thing. We read that Torah twice. We had a family who had ancestors from the Holocaust, and when their two girls got the no mitzvah, we took it out and we read it because of the connection. It is probably not 100%, what's 100%? It's probably not 100% kasher, you know, like a Torah, like you want it to be, but it's an amazing condition. I mean, there's Sefer Torah that were torn, ripped, you're missing half of Deuteronomy, whatever. It's an amazing condition. I looked through it, I saw the parts that I needed, and I said, this might not be 100%, but they can read them. And can you imagine the emotions in the room when they read the Sefer Torah from the land where their ancestors survived and millions died? Unbelievable. Someone said to me, Rabbi, you think it's right you should read a Sefer Torah that's not kasher? And I said to them, listen, for all that this Torah scroll has been through, and the fact that we are still alive now, and these two girls are going to grow up as Jews and aware of their history, yeah, I think it's a good reason. And we did it. We brought in a sofer, a scribe, who looks at Torahs. Shelley, we had yesterday, we're going to have to try to get someone, right, to fix that little thing at the bottom. Torahs, most of them can be repaired one way or another. If it can't be repaired, then there's a debate about whether to use it ever again or not. Thank God I haven't been in that position. Can you imagine if you were in shul where they had one Sefer Torah, that's all you had to read from, and someone said, I don't think it's kasher, I think this letter's wrong? When would you do? You know, the lesser of two evils, do you pick reading it or do you not? It's a tough thing. But we brought in a sofer who said, I wouldn't even begin to try to fix this Torah. Like, that's how much sanctity it had. And I agreed with him. I said, you know, it's beautiful on its own. You're looking for somebody that's perfect, you ain't gonna get it. We all have our imperfections. And a spouse, and a mate, a kid, a parent. This Torah is so precious. It survived. Do you know how many Torahs? I know stories of people that ran into burning synagogues on Crystal Rock. They took out the Torah and they buried it in the ground so the Nazis couldn't find it, and later came back to take them out. I mean, we can't relate to this. We can't even relate to this, that we have to grab those Torahs and put them in the ground now because somebody coming in the door. Thank God. But this is Jewish history, my friends. I'll tell you one last thing. And when I find out more about this, about that Torah, I will be happy to share it with you because I'm really into this. The sofer took a look at that Sefer Torah, and you know what he said to me? He said, you know what this is? This is a Kabbalistic Torah. I never heard of such a thing. To me, a Torah is a Torah is a Torah. But I've learned over time, a Torah is not a Torah, is not a Torah. Give you an example. Say I'm a sofer, I'm writing a Torah, right? Say I write the first line, Bereshit bara Elohim et Shemayim v'Haaretz, right? V'Haaretz Adonai Tot Tavo. I get to the end, someone's checking and says, Rabbi, you forgot the word bara. You wrote Bereshit, Elohim, you know? What do? Can I write the word above? Like sometimes you put a caret. Can you do that? Who said no?
I said no.
You would be right, and I was under that impression for most of my life. But I have a picture on my phone of a Torah where a word is missing, and they wrote it above, and a few sofrim said, oh yeah, that was the style. The more you learn, the more you get out there, the more you see that Jews do different things. Ashkenazim, Sephardim, America, Israel. Someone said, yeah, that's a kosher Torah. I agree with that. So you never know. I said, what is a Kabbalistic Torah? I never got the answer yet. He said, I'll come back and explain it. I'm still waiting to hear it. You guys know what a pay looks like, right? Within a lot of the pays, I'm not sure if it's everyone, but there was another pay within the pay. So it looked like the Greek symbol for eternity that went around. You ever see a Greek, like, piece of art or whatever? They have this thing where it's like eternity, and it goes around. So there's a pay within a pay. I can't wait to find out what that's about. That is really, really cool. Okay. Where are we with the Minion, Susan? What's the latest update?
We have a meeting
Nice.
without the total.
Without the Torah, okay. So 149, why don't we rise for Baruch Hu? Baruch Hu is a celebration of our community gathered together. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vaed. Maybe see them. I'm going to invite you to turn to page 153. In bold print in the middle, Kadosh, Kadosh 3 times. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzivot, V'lo kol haaretz kivodo. Why does the line say Kadosh 3 times? Isn't one good enough? Why 3 times?
Once is not enough.
Sometimes once is not enough. Do Shema twice a day. Do Amidah 3 times a day. What particularly is about this? First of all, where is this line found? I might say it in the margin here. Yes, Roseanne, Isaiah, chapter 6, verse 3. That's where it is. Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. A lot of us do what when we say it? You've seen it. We bounce on our feet, right? Some people go up, down, up, down, up, down. Some people, like me, often I remember, is I go up a little bit, then more, than more. We're reaching more for heaven, for holiness, to be closer. I met someone who, when he did this, would do this. Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. Do you know why they did that?
Keep your bathrooms.
Well, that's nice. And when the Olympics come, maybe we'll tell the Olympic gymnasts to do this balance beam. They did it because it's not enough for me to be holier. We want everyone to be holier. So it's like lifting us all up together, this thing. It's really, really nice. People do it. Now we're going to go to page 154. Invite you to gather the tzitzit if you have them. V'keravtanu l'shimcha hagadol sela be'emet, lodo l'cha yachelcha b'yava, baruch atah Adonai, habocher b'yamo Yisrael, b'yava. Amen. Hey guys, want to sing Shema with me? Good. Come on. Got room for everybody here. Page 155. Beautiful house. This is my first one too. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Had a bar mitzvah last year? Where? In Israel. Where?
Jerusalem.
Where? The hotel? Nothing like it, man. Way to go. And when's your birthday? 13.
It was midnight.
When are you going to be 13? You 13?
2 years.
2 years? You'll have bar mitzvah too. Daddy say you take you to Israel too? Or is this like the favorite son and you're like going out in the streets somewhere? Probably. Hear what it says, Daddy? 155. Let's sing together. Come on, guys. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavecha, u'b'chol nafshecha, ובכל מיודך, והיו הדברים האלה, אשר אנוכי מצווך, היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו תותפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. 156. וים שמות תשמעו מצותי אשר נתתי. ונתת עש ושמחה וצבעתם. שמתם. Third paragraph, Vayomer. Vayomer Adonai, El Moshe Lemor, Daber, El Bnei Yisrael, Yamarta Alehem, V'yasu Lahem Tzitzi, Hakan Feket Yehem L'Doratam, V'natnu Al Tzitzi, Hakanah V'til Techelet, V'yalachem L'Tzitzi, V'ritem Oto, U'zachartem Et Kol Mitzvot Adonai, V'asitem Otam, V'lo Taturu, Acharei Lachem V'acharei Einechem, Asher Atem Zonim Achareihem, Leman Tizkaru V'asitem Kol Mitzvotai, V'yitem Kedoshim Le'Elohechem, Ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher Otzeiti Etchem Me'eretz Mitzrayim, V'yolachem Elohim, Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem, Amen. L'dor v'dor ukam shmo kayam, v'chison achor u'malchutov l'noto la'ad kayam. How about a big yashikah to our supporting pastor, Shkoyach, guys, beautiful, beautiful. One last question for you, you can come back later if you want. When you were at the Kotel, when you left the Kotel, did you notice something interesting about the way a lot of people walk? Dad? I'm not putting you in the spot, I'm just asking.
I can't say I did.
Anybody know?
Backwards.
Backwards. See people walking backwards? Kotel, if you think about it. They leave the Kotel, they walk like this. First time I saw it, I said, slippery stones? I said, you're gonna kill yourself.
Yeah.
I can't even walk forward. You're gonna kill yourself. Why do they do that?
Same reason they walk, when they see the Torah, they walk back this way too.
Right?
Same reason.
And other reasons, like what we just did with the tzitzit. We help them pass Vayomer. What is the answer?
Respect.
Respect is a beautiful answer. We're loath to leave things that are important to us. People don't want to leave the kotel. They don't want to leave the bima. They don't want to leave the ark, the Torahs, so they walk backwards to keep it in front of them always as much as they can. Mind you, got to be careful. You don't want to fall. That'd be a bigger tragedy. But people will do that. Same thing that happened with the Shema just now. We don't let go of the tzitzit after the third paragraph. We wait for L'dor V'dor. Why? We're loath to leave the tzitzit, the mitzvah. So we hold them a little longer, and that's why we gather them early with V'kerov Tanu, because we're eager to get there. So you all know, people you love, you don't want to see them go. People you love, you can't wait to see them again. Same thing with Judaism. People love Judaism. They're constantly looking to hold on to it and to do something new. Shkoyach, guys. Maybe come back a little later? Love to have you. Good? All right. We are now on page 158. We're going to rise for Tzur Yisrael. Then we'll turn to 306 for the Shachri Pesach Hamidah. Tzur Yisrael, Tumavi Ezrat Yisrael, Uftech Numecha Yudah Yisrael, Go Aleinu, Adonai Tzavot Shemo, Kiddush Yisrael, Baruch Atah Adonai, Sam Yisrael. 306. Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Hayel HaGadol, HaGibor V'Hanora, Elohim, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Akol, V'zocher Chastei Avod, U'meti Goel Livnei V'nehem, L'man Shmo V'yava, Melech Ozer Omer Shmoshi Omagim, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Abraham, Atah Gibor L'Olam Adonai, V'chayeni Timatara V'Hoshia, we just changed, Morid Hatal, Mechakeh Chayim B'Chesed, Mechayei Meitim V'Rachamim Rahim, Sovech Dofli, Rofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umechayei V'Nunato, L'Yishenei Afar, Michamocha Bal Gurot, Dom Ela, Melech Meini, Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'Neman Atalach Eodim. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei Hametim. 308. Mekadesh et Shimcha ba'olam, Kishem shmakdishim ota b'shmei Maron, Kakatu v'yad nevi'echa, Karazel zevi amar, Kadosh, 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 Adonai tzivot, Lo kol haaretz kevodo. Az v'kol rash gadol, Adir v'chazak mashmi'im kol, Minasim liyumat serafim, Yumatam Baruch Yomeru, Baruch Kevod Adonai, Mikomo. Tikadal v'tikadash, B'tok Yerushalayim Yirecha, L'dor v'ador, L'dor v'ador, Netzach netzachim, V'yeneinu tirena, Tirena malchutecha, Kadavar ha'amor, B'shirei yosecha, V'yeneinu tirena, Tirena malchutecha, Kadavar ha'amor, B'shirei yosecha. Ayidei, David, Ayidei, David, Ayidei, David, Meshiach tzidkecha, Yiloch Adonai Olam, Elohai Etzion, L'dor v'ador, Hallelujah. L'dor v'ador nagid kolecha, U'netzach netzachim kedushat l'natish, V'shivcha chalolim v'pino l'yerushtu ambaeh. Kilmel gadol v'kadosh ata, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Page 310, we continue on our own. Remember to include the words for Pesach. Et Yom Chag HaMatzot, as is one of them. Yom Chag HaMatzot, as is. You must have been the Seder last night.
I had one glass of wine before, forget it. It's like,
Page 316 is Hallel. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshah mitzotav tzivanu likrot Hallel. Hallelujah. Moshivi akeret abayit, eim abanim smecha. Hallelujah. B'tzeit Yisrael mitzrayim, Beit Yaakov me'amoes, Haita Yuga Likocho, Yisrael Mamshlota, Hayam Rav, Ayanos, Ayarden Yisov Liakor, Eharim, Rakadukiye, Yivah, Kivnetzon, Malachayam, Kitanus, Ayarden, Yisov Liakor, Eharim, Tirkadukiyelim, Yivah, Kivnetzon, Milifnei Adon, Kuli Aretz, Milifnei, Elo Yaakov, Alchi Hatzor, Agamayim, Chalamish, Lemayim Omayim. 317, Lolano Adonai Lolano, Kilushim Chaten Kavod. And Yisrael B'tach Adonai Ezra Maginamhu, Beit Aron B'chluv Adonai Ezra Maginamhu, Yirei Adonai B'chluv Adonai Ezra Maginamhu, Adonai Zekaranu Yivarech, Yivarech et Beit Yisrael, Yivarech et Beit Aron, Yivarech Yirei Adonai, Achtanim Imagolim, Yosef Adonai Aleichem, Aleichem v'Abenechem, Veruchim atem Adonai, Oseh Shamayim va'aretz, Shamayim Adonai, Ve'aretz natan b'nei Adam, Lo ametim Hallelujah, Ve'lako yardei Duma, Va'anachnu nevarecha, Me'ata v'yad olam, Me'ata v'yad olam, Hallelujah. 318. Ahafti kishma Adonai koli taknunai. Et alech lifnei Adonai v'artzot ha'chayim emanti ki adaber ani tmeot ani amarti v'chosei kol adam kozev. Page 318, together in the English at the bottom. It is to you that I sacrifice a thanksgiving offering and call upon the name of Adonai. I shall fulfill my vows to Adonai in the presence of the entire people of God, in the courtyards of Adonai's house, in your midst of Jerusalem. Hallelujah. Joyfully praise God. 319. Hallelujah et Adonai, kol goyim, shabchu, kol ha'umim, ki gavar aleinu chasto v'emet, Adonai li'olam, hallelujah, hodu l'Adonai, ki tov, ki le'olam, chasto, Yom Marna, Yisrael, ki le'olam, chasto, Yom Runa, Beit Aron, ki le'olam, chasto, Yom Runa, Yirei Adonai, ki le'olam, chasto. Mina meitza karati ya, nani vamer chavya. Rachel tichnani, cholani avarani. Pituli sharei tzedek avovam odeya zeh hashar l'Adonai tzadikim yavovo odecha ki anitani batili lishua odecha ki anitani batili lishua even masu aboni aita lerosh bina even masu aboni aita lerosh bina Adonai, Haiktaso, Hiniflat B'Yeinu Me'ek Adonai, Haiktaso, Hiniflat B'Yeinu, Zeh Hayom Asa Adonai, Nagil Avenis Mechavav, Zeh Hayom Asa Adonai, Nagil Avenis Mechavav, Ana Adonai Oshiana, Ana Adonai Oshiana, Ana Adonai Hatzlichana, Ana Adonai Hatzlichana, Baruch haba b'shem Adonai. Odu Adonai ki tov, ki le'olam chasto, ki l'chato lo dov shulchan el zamer, ki le'olam v'yadom tahel, Baruch atah Adonai, melech olam, v'atish b'achod. Amen. Okay. We're going to have a group aliyah. The Talmud talks about that in Masechet Megillah, among other places. Can you call up more than one person for an aliyah? When you hear a great, you say yeah, like everybody in the world does it. A lot of people don't do it. They call one. In fact, they don't even call women ever. They call one man at a time, all that. Other times they do, it all depends. But yeah, I love it. I'm so in favor of everybody, groups. I've often told people, you could all come up here. Really, there's no difference. We're all in this together. Do you know why we carry the Torah around? Before reading it and afterwards? We carry it around. Why?
Why not?
You know, I think you're all saying the same thing. Torah belongs to all of us. Doesn't belong to me. Doesn't belong to Kim. Doesn't belong to the president. Although she's a great president, so maybe she does own it. I don't know. It doesn't belong to some of us. It belongs to all of us. So you might not be up here for an aliyah or to open the ark or anything, but it belongs to you too. And you have a right to kiss the Torah. So that's why we carry it around. It's really beautiful. You know, during COVID, oh, it's changed. First of all, we weren't here. Second of all, we weren't getting together. We weren't kissing Torahs and passing and all stuff around. When we started to go back, I heard stories. I remember how excited I was to see the Torahs again. But I heard stories of people breaking down in tears that they saw the Torahs again and went up to the ark and kissed them. That's what the Torah means to us. It's beautiful. So we're going to do one group aliyah. You can come up with me and read the Chumash. You can stay there. You can stand. You could sit. You could do whatever you want. The aliyah is found on page 931. Where are most of the special maftir readings? From what parsha? Pinchas. Very good. Is that the future Kamish on there? Way to go, Roseanne. It's from Pinchas. This is 931. It is chapter 28. It is verse 16. Whoever wants to join in your seats here, whatever you want to do together. Baruch et Adonai HaBorach, Baruch Adonai Borach L'Moed, Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam, Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim, V'natan Lanu et Torato, Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah. If you can read Torah, read with me, sing with me, try. Page 931. Uvachodesh Hashrishon, Bar Basar, Yom LaChodesh Pesach L'Adonai, Uvachamisha Asar Yom, LaChodesh Hazeh Chad, Shivat Yamim Matzot Yapel, Bayom Harishon Mikra Kodesh, V'Melechet Avodah Lo Tasu, Yikraften Ishel L'Adonai, Parim B'nei Makar, Shnayim Ba'ayel Echad, V'Shivach V'Basim B'nei Shana, Timimim Yulachem, Umin Chatan Sol Kula Bashamen, Shlosha Esronim Lapar, Ushnei Esronim La'ayil Ta'asu, Isaron Taseh, La'keves Achad, L'Shivat HaKvasim, Uzir Chatat Echad, L'Chaper Alechem, Milvad Olad HaBoker, Asher Lilat HaTamid, Tasu Et Eleh, Kahahele, Tasu Layom Shivat Yamim Lechem, Yisherech Michal Ladonai, Alola Tatami, Yaseh V'Nisko, Ubayom Hashvi, Mikra Kodesh Yalachem, Kol Melechat Avodah, Lo Tasu. Last bracha, Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher natan lanu Torat emet, V'chayei olam natan b'tocheinu, Baruch Atah Adonai, Noten HaTorah. We're going to do a Mishaberach for Chalim, for people who are ill. Mishaberach Alatena Avram Yitzchak Yaakov, Yivutenes Arich Barak L'Lei, Mark Berape, Ekol Chalim Ha'ela. Names?
Chaim ben Avraham Lev.
Others?
Jason Lucian, Robert and James Patterson, Frank Patterson, Ron Markowitz, and Barry Leibowitz.
Shoshana Bracha Perel Basman Musoret, Lev Simcha Ben Dalen.
Shel?
Chaya bat Tzvia, Mordechai ben Chaya, and,
We'll come back to you, dear.
okay.
Who else? Please.
Maureen Rothstein, Marty Schimmel, Harley Rose, Abraham Garber, Chaim Garber, Rivka Garber, Jason Reese, David Fickler, and Renee Flater.
And Chaim ben Chansalia.
Is that Eric Friedman? Is that the Cantor's brother?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Please tell him that we're asking for and hoping for the best. Anybody else? Mishber? To Adele Perlod, to Stephen Kim Corson, to Sarah Mitchell, Viet Kolak Green, the Top Sharp Israel. HaKadosh Baruch Hu le'rachmalim l'chazikam l'chotan, v'yishlach lahem b'mheir u'fur shem shemaim u'fur t'nefesh u'fur t'guf, yantav yim l'zog hashpachaz machar ben Omar. Amen. We wish you a foolish shleima to everybody we mentioned, to everybody that is in our heads, we don't remember names, whatever, wherever they may be. May they all come back to a speedy recovery. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, good, we got that in. Now, guys, have you heard the 4 questions? Guys, we'll be done by 12. Have you heard the 4 questions in other languages? Besides English, Hebrew? I have a book at home that has the 4 questions in about 100 languages. And one Seder one year, I gave them out to people around the table, and they all had transliteration in English, and we read a bunch of them. So when I was a kid, my grandparents, Aleim Shalom, used to speak Yiddish with me, and I spoke pretty well. My brother spoke better. And in their memory, he used to sing this every year. I'm going to give you a flavor of the first one. Mani Stana. Tata will the frag and the fear kashes. Abba, I want to ask the 4 questions. Mani Stana halayla zeh mikol halilot. Parvus is there does genach from Pesach under von allen net von a ganz Jahr. The erste kasha is, the first question is, Shevachol halilot allen net von a ganz Jahr. Essen mir seichom zu say matzeh. Over halayla zeh. Essen dir does genach from Pesach. Essen mir nor matzeh. Every language. They're all out there. You can find them. And one year I had a Soviet Jew just come out of Russia at my table, and I was able to get, when I went to Russia, I bought a Russian Haggadah, and I gave it to him, and he sang parts of it for us.
Well,
Jews all over the world. It's really cool. Okay, good, we covered that. I wanted to do that. Now, let me sit in a couple minutes. What did we do last night that we didn't do the night before? Yes, we counted the Omer, Sfirat Omer. The Torah says, the book of Leviticus, you're supposed to number 7 complete weeks, starting with the Yom Mimacharai, a Shabbat, on the day after either Sabbath or the day of rest. And that makes a difference how you translate that. Huge. Anybody know why? Ancient times, the Sadducees translated it as the day after Shabbat, literally the 7th day. So they would always start on a Sunday, they would always finish. 7 weeks later, Shavuot will always be a Sunday. The Pharisees, the heirs to, or the ancestors of rabbinic tradition, said no. Shabbat means other things. It doesn't just mean Shabbos, it means a day of rest. This is Yom Tov, that's Shabbat. So we follow that. We start the Omer, not on Sunday, we start it on second night, because that's how we translate it. So every year Shavuot is different. In the Sadducean tradition, it was always on Sunday. This Sunday, I think, is Easter Sunday. Yesterday was Good Friday, or today? Yeah, so I want to wish a beautiful holiday season to our Christian friends. We should all get along together. So we started counting the Omer. The Omer is like everything in Judaism, has very Kabbalistic connections. There is this beautiful book.
I have that exact book.
Yeah,
Yes,
a famous
it's a
one.
Sefer book.
What?
It's a Sefer
Sphere book?
Yeah.
Right, for the counting.
Exactly that same book.
Simon Jacobson put this out a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's the counting of the Omer, and what he does is he gives daily spiritual recommendations for what to do with it. So I want to share with you a little bit about it. And you can find it online or you can buy it. There are 7 weeks. Each week is devoted to a different midah, a different attribute of kind of spirituality and getting from here to there in a better place. So, if I can find the right page, I know it's here.
Last night was Chesed v'Chesed.
Yeah, you do know what you're talking
Yes,
about.
I do.
I never doubt. We're going to explain what that means in 1 second. I'm first looking for the page where it says it all. Here we go. 7 emotional attributes. The first week is called Chesed, loving kindness. The second week is called Gevura. It's translated here, you can argue with these translations. But Gevura, discipline, restraint, and awe. Tiferet is week 3, beauty and harmony. Netzach is endurance and ambition. Hod is humility and splendor. Yesod is bonding and foundation. And the last week is Malchut, when you get to the highest rung of God, nobility, sovereignty, and leadership. So every week is dedicated to one of those words, and every day is dedicated to a different one of the words. So it's like 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, then 2-1, 2-2, 2-3. It tells you not only what you can think about, but it gives you exercises for the day. So I want to do today. Today is Chesed Shel Chesed, right? It is loving kindness of loving kindness. Love is the single most powerful and necessary component in life. You know where they got this in ancient times? From the Beatles song, Love Is All You Need. That was the original inspiration. That's what I think. I might be wrong. Love is the origin and foundation of all human interactions. It is both giving and receiving. It allows us to reach above and beyond ourselves, love others, love God. So, today the first day is loving kindness and loving kindness. Examine your lives. What do you love? How can you love better? Everyone is able to love. The question is, how do we express it? Then it goes on to talk about whom do I love? Do I only love those who I relate to and those who relate to me? Do I have the capacity to love a stranger? My God, isn't that all of Judaism? Love the stranger because you were once strangers in the land of Egypt? And when we turn to like enemies, Palestinians, or whoever it might be, don't we say, you know what? You might see you're a Palestinian, I'm a Jew, I'm an Israeli, but I see you as a person, I hope you look at me as a person. Together we can love each other. That's the only way we're going to move forward and climb up if we have a new take on this. It says exercise for the day. Find a new way to express your love to a dear one. Isn't that nice? So if you got somebody at home or a stranger in the street or whatever, try to express your love and feel yourself growing spiritually and emotionally to be a greater child of God. I love this, and you can find it. Simon Jacobson is the one who put it together. Now, question. Last night was the second Seder. We counted the Omer, right? We did it, didn't we? We're together? You were with me last night. We had a great time. I hope you enjoyed. I enjoyed it very much. I told my my friends it was like one of my favorite Seders we did last night. Seder last night was day 1. say I wake up this morning, better yet, say I wake up at 2 in the morning and I say, something's bothering me. Oh, I forgot to count the Omer. Can I do it at 2 in the morning?
Yes.
Yes? Yes. Basically, everyone agrees. This is based on the first Mishnah, by the way, in Brachot, Talmud Bavli. A mitzvah that can be done at the beginning of the night can be done all night long. There's a famous story about Rabbi Gamliel and his kids in the Talmud about that. Which means 2 in the morning, it's still dark outside. I can get up, say the bracha, I can count the day, go back to bed, I'm good, all set for next night. Say I wake up at 10 o'clock in the morning, right? And I go, did I count the Omer last night? Oh my goodness, I didn't, I remember. I was too busy talking to Danny about the Mets and the Phillies. I totally forgot. Now it's daytime. Darkness is past. Can I count the first day now? Can we do it? Yes?
Yes.
But
You have to have the second, it's do both days.
we're not up to both days yet. That's tonight. And it's now. It's 11 whatever. Can I do it now? Yes. But I traditionally, according to one tradition, shouldn't say the bracha before. Because I didn't do it in the optimal time. So I count the day. If I didn't miss a complete day, I didn't. I said today, Hayom Yom Echad Omer, it's the first day of the Omer. I don't count the bracha. If I didn't miss a complete day, tonight, you go back, say the bracha, say day 2, continue from there. What happens if 3 days from now? I suddenly realized, oh, I missed the Omer, man. I just, whatever, I've been busy. I had to move. I got a friend in Israel who's moving these days. You know, he's busy. He's not able to do everything he's supposed to do. If, according to a tradition, you miss a complete 24-hour period, you could pick it up again, like I missed days 2, 3, and 4. I can pick it up day 5, but traditionally, you're not supposed to count, say the bracha anymore. Why? Because the Torah says in Emor Leviticus, Sheva Shabbatot Temimot Tiyena. It's supposed to be 7 complete weeks, shall there be. Now, we could spend time discussing and debating. As a pulpit rabbi, I never followed that. I personally, times. But with the congregation, I saw the congregation like every Friday night. I didn't see them every Thursday, Wednesday, Mitzvah, and Darshnik. So I said, most of these people I know are not counting the Omer. So I don't want to deprive them of that experience. So I said the bracha, I said the day, and I felt good for what I achieved. Everybody is different. So that is the counting of the Omer. The 50th night is Shavuot. All right, a little bit of a trick question, and then we're going to start to finish this up. What's the Hebrew name of Shavuot? Shavuot. Hebrew name. Shaking your head? That's the right answer. That's the right answer.
Whatever it is
Shavuot
after 7 weeks.
is the, what?
Whatever it is after the 7 weeks.
Yeah. Shavuot is the only holiday in the Torah that doesn't tell you the corresponding date. Pesach is the 14th of Nisan. Chag HaMatzot is the 15th of Nisan. Rosh Hashanah, the 1st of the 7th month. Yom Kippur, the 10th day of the 7th month. We read about it in Pinchas. We know this. There's no date for Shavuot. Why? Because the Pharisees and the Sadducees would start and end on different dates. The Sadducees always started on a Sunday, but the Pharisees started like last night, which was what? Thursday? Last night? The Sadducees would wait until Sunday, which means 7 weeks from now, the Pharisees were celebrating Shavuot, and the Sadducees weren't. They said it's not the 50th night. So then a few days later, one was celebrating, one wasn't, and they had some arguments. Because if you're celebrating Yom Tov on a weekday, you'd say you shouldn't be doing that today. If you're observing a weekday on a day of Yom Tov, you'd say you're breaking Yom Tov. This is Yom Tov. What are you doing working? So they allow them to start and end it on different days. My friends, I'm gonna blank on his name, Ira Isaacson, the son-in-law of Rabbi Mordechai Kaplan, who started the Reconstructionist movement. I graduated that rabbinical school. Ira Isaacson was asked about patrilineal descent. He said, they asked him, this will be the end of Judaism, right? Like where you got, some people are Jews, some people aren't Jews. You know, I'm sure you got a beautiful family, and hopefully a lovely wife. I don't even know you, Danny, but I'm gonna go there. You know, if your wife was Jewish and the kids were Jewish because of you, because you claim patrilineal descent, some people would accept that, some people wouldn't. It's the same thing with Jews all over the world. The problem with that is that it's just filled with problems. What happens when you grow up and your kid wants to get married and they ask the son, are you Jewish? He goes, well, my father was. And they go, that's not Jewish. Now you got maybe non-Jews marrying Jews and arguing over who's Jew and what's a Jew and how do you become a Jew? Do you convert? What do you do? Wait. They asked Ira Isaacson, this will be the end of Judaism as we know it, right? Patrilineal descent. He gave one of the best answers I ever heard in my life. He goes, the Jews have survived a lot worse. We'll figure this out. And I worried about it. It's a longer conversation. But guess what? We're still here. And you can work these things out. So thank God that didn't end us. Don't let anything ever end your faith, your Judaism. There's a way to figure it out. There's a way to figure it out. All right, we're going to do Aleinu, Mourner's Kaddish, and bless everybody, call it a day. Guys, I purposely did this today. For all of you that know me and have been here more than once, I wanted to do something a little different than yesterday. I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to give me feedback. Baruch Tiyah. I prepare hard for this stuff. I bring a lot of stuff. It's like a deck of cards. I pull this out, I pull that out. You ask this question, we talk about this, and just take the journey. Other days, we'll go back to the full Siddur. I think it's all good. If I didn't, I wouldn't do it. I think it's all good. There are a lot of Jews who don't want to sit here and pray for 3 hours in a language they don't understand. And so they don't come. There's a lot of Jews who don't come to Shabbos services because they ask them, why don't you come? He goes, because I've been coming for years. I know what you're going to do. I know what you're going to say. I'm going to do something different. Here's something different. And if we like it, we'll discuss it and promote it. Because the idea is to build a community, get a minyan, and get people excited about being here. I hope one of you will go home and someone will say, how was that second day? Go, it's really cool. Like, we never did anything like that before. We talked about the Omer. We talked about the attributes. We told stories about Israel. We met a new family, had a beautiful bar mitzvah in Israel. We learned why you walk backwards. I never knew that before. That's the kind of Yiddishkeit that I want. Where we're excited, we're in, we can always do something else. Today was the day for this. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for allowing me to do this. Why don't we rise for Aleinu, which you're going to find in your Sidurim somewhere. Every time I memorize pages in the Siddur, they put out a new Siddur. Every time. I wish I had 5 minutes to enjoy a Siddur. Aleinu, I think it's like a 203?
205.
205, thank you. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'teikenu l'aliotzer b'reishit, shelo asanu kigoyei haratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot adama, shelo samchenu kahen, v'gor aleinu t'chol amona, anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech, machei amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Kakatu torta chalayim lo pilam v'ed v'nemar v'hay Adonai l'melech ha'kol haaretz v'yomahu Yeh Adonai Echad, U'Shema, U'Shema, U'Shema Echad. 207 is Kadisha Tom, the Mourner's Kaddish. For those who would like to say it, for those who would like to stand standing, for those who will remain seated, whatever is your tradition. Together, Yitkadal, Yitkadash, Merabah, V'Alama, Ivra, Kirutei, V'Amlich, Malchutei, V'Chayechon, V'Yomechon, U'V'Chayei, V'Chol Beit Yisrael, V'Adala, U'Zman Kari, V'Yimaru, Amen. Yehei Shmei, Rabba Mevorach, V'Olam, U'Mel Mayah, Yitbarach, V'Yishtabach, V'Yitar, V'Yitramam, V'Yitnasei, V'Yitadar, V'Yitalev, V'Yitalal, Shmei Kucha Brichu, Le'elah Mikol Birchata B'Shirata, Tushbechata V'Nechamata, Da'amiran V'Alama V'Yimaru, Amen. Yehei Shalom Arava V'Jemaya, V'Chayim Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'Yimaru, Amen. Oseh Shalom V'Mamav, Hu Yaseh Shalom, Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'Yimaru, Amen. Any questions or comments about anything? Well, yeah, thank you. I hope you enjoyed it.
Lovely.
I do.
It was lovely.
I studied Daf Yomi, 7.5 years, different pages of Talmud every day. No 2 pages are alike.
Yeah.
We just finished 66 pages of Masachet Nazir, a lot of commonality. No 2 pages are alike.
It's amazing.
That's what's so cool about it, because you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what they're going to talk about tomorrow. A Nazir, this, that. They talked about, can a woman be a Nazir? You know what they talked about on the last page? Was Shmuel Hanavi a Nazir? Samuel the prophet. Because they said Hannah, his mother, was childless. She prayed to God, please give me a child. She got one. She said, I will dedicate him to God for life. So they asked, when he went to Eli at Shiloh, did he become a Nazir? I never thought about it that way.
That's Samson. Talking about
Samson's the famous Nazir
Yeah,
in the book of Judges.
yeah,
We all know he was.
yeah.
When they cut his hair, the whole thing. But Samuel is not known as a Nazir. He's known as the first prophet, Shmuel Hanavi. So the question is, was he one too? And people say, yeah, I guess he was. You know, one of the most difficult things I heard, and so far we've been doing it for 3 years now or so, they said before Rabbi Kiva met his wife, Rachel, Rabbi Kiva was an Am Haaretz. Rabbi Kiva is like one of the greatest rabbis we've ever had. And Am Haaretz in Hebrew means a boorish person. I wrote a song about it, which is called Chazak, Chazak, V'Yit Chazek. You guys don't have guitar Shabbos up here, so I don't bring my guitar. I love to play songs. What?
You should have played your guitar today.
I didn't think they would allow me to play it. It's Yom Tov. Is that like Shabbos or not?
They had music last night at out of Israel.
You're comparing us to a different shul.
Well, I'm just saying, they had music.
All right, so get on the ritual committee. I'd love to play guitar. I have such a lot of fun. I actually sang an original song last night at the Seder that I wrote to the 4 children, which I love. Touches my heart. So the point is, to think of Rabbi Kiva as a boorish person, an Am Haaretz, you know what Am Haaretz means? It's like a person who doesn't know anything. But in my song I wrote, Rabbi Kiva didn't know an aleph from a bat until he went to study. But he became like such a great rabbi. But to think of him in his pre-study days, that he didn't know aleph from a bat, he was a regular nothing? I never heard of such a thing. That's what they called him in the Talmud. So, all right, he became what he became. It's all good. What's our scheduled services? There's no services tonight.
By the way, what's going on for tonight at 6 o'clock?
Nothing.
He's not gonna do it?
Yeah, well, from what I heard, Shelley told us yesterday that since he had the access to the Facebook, I don't. I would have done it, but I don't have Facebook. So we're not having services tonight.
Okay, so
We'll have
6
him-
o'clock is canceled.
Right, from what I understand.
Okay.
We'll have him here tomorrow at 9:15. What is tomorrow called?
Shabbos.
Shabbat. Shabbat. Chol HaMoed Pesach of the intermediate days. That's what tomorrow is. So we'll get to tomorrow. Roseanne, so nice meeting you. You're always welcome. Good luck in your studies in New York. Let us know how you're doing. I'll ask Susan how you're doing. It's always good to have you. Danny, so nice to meet you. I hope we'll be friends. You know what I did to Couture real quickly? Years ago in Inquirer, they wrote an article, something about like how the Phillies and the Yankees fans hate each other. And I saw that word hate in my blood curdle. And I wrote a letter to the editor that we printed. I said, when I saw the word hate, I I thought you were talking about like Nazis or extremists or something. You're talking about sports teams? No.
No.
Don't use the word for hate over sports teams. And they printed it. And I was so proud that I wrote that. Philadelphia has a terrible, terrible reputation for treating other visiting spectators with their uniforms on. Terrible. I've seen families get beat up in the parking lot. Can you imagine?
It defeats the whole purpose.
Defeats the whole purpose. Sports is great, we love it, we live by it. There's more important things. The fact that I'm calling you my new friend and not some Mets fan who I wish never comes back again. Your kids are white, but you, I don't know. This makes me so happy to meet a new friend. When we meet new friends, we make the world closer and we bring shalom to the world. So I love meeting you. I hope you're always welcome. We'll talk. I'd love to get your phone number.
Sure.
Guys, thanks for coming up and leaving a smile with me.
Yeah, well,
You guys are beautiful. I wish you all the best in the world. What grade are you in?
I'm in 8th grade.
And? Beautiful. Good luck to you. You got a great dad. I could see it already. And I don't even know him that well.
They clean up well.
What?
They clean up well.
They clean up well. Yeah. So it's all good. And for everybody else here, great thing. We're gonna say, you know what, I'm so fatigued. Oh, I don't know where I am. I want to bless you, and then we're going to go to Kiddush in the back.
Yeah.
So I want to say to you all, from the words of the Haggadah, L'Shana B'Ad Yerushalayim. Next year should be better than this. Next year should be in good places. Next year should be in Jerusalem. Next year should be in a world filled with more love, and above all, more peace wherever we are. Amen. Good luck to you all. Thanks for being here today. Let's go to the back, make Kiddush. Good seeing you. Thanks for
And
coming.
thank you for,
Pleasure.
for
Always a
yesterday.
pleasure. Hey, Hanson, how are you? So guys, you can all reach out. You got those things? Beautiful. Do you like the Rangers? You're an Islanders fan? No, they're not playing in Long Island, right? Aren't they in Brooklyn? Am I wrong? Do you know this?
They moved the to the Coliseum.
But they're still in Long Island? I guess I'm wrong. I thought they had, maybe they talked about it.